The Toronto Raptors go into Boston. They have not won in 4 years plus, and they go in without Scottie Barnes. They go in without Brandon Ingram. They go in without a fighting chance. But you know what? Sometimes on a night like this, you get to find out who your dogs are and who your warriors are. And it was always going to be really interesting on a night like tonight to see what Immanuel Quickley could do with a few more touches, what RJ Barrett could do with a more featured role, what Jacoby Walter could do with a few more touches. And it would also be interesting to see which of these, somewhat incomplete wing players off the bench were going to be your saving grace. Was it going to be Grady? Was it going to be Jameson Battle? Was it going to be Elijah Martin? And I think you got some pretty encouraging performances. Now, listen, full disclosure, wasn't on board with the Elijah Martin pick. Totally wanted Maxime Reno. Just could not understand why we went that way. But the more I watch Elijah Martin, the more I get it, the more I understand it, the more I see the vision of what could be potentially down the line a pretty competent role player. The Raptors go into the second quarter. They have a pretty competitive quarter. They even get the lead 47-46. Not something you were expecting coming into this. Unfortunately, the headline of this game is not that the Raptors lost, but rather that they also lost RJ Barrett to a left ankle sprain. Comes up gimpy. He went down hard, and my heart just sank because this is a guy who, is clearly fighting for a contract, having a very, very positive stretch of basketball. The Raptors desperately need his offense right now. He ends up with 19 points today. Let's take a look at this game. It's not going to be a super long live, but you know what? You get a very competitive effort tonight from the Toronto Raptors. And the Raptors, it doesn't get much easier from here. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are tough, but the Philadelphia 76ers are rolling. And, you're going to face Joel Embiid. And hopefully, on a back-to-back, you will have Jakob Poeltl, Brandon Ingram, and Jakob Poeltl, Brandon Ingram, and Scottie Barnes back for those games. But who knows, right? Everyone is pretty much day-to-day at this point. But with the way RJ Barrett went down, with the way that he left, with, just how angry he was about the whole thing, this could be a multiple week thing. And it's just not a great time because whether the Raptors are keeping him, whether they're trading him, this is really whether they're just evaluating him, right? Uh Marwan saying Thunder down 12 against the Grizzlies. Well, yes, they were down 20 earlier. So 12 is a miraculous, signal of positive growth at this point. They are without Shea. So, you're gonna have to give the Thunder and they're playing some terrible basketball right now. Yeah, I mean, you walk into this game, you're like, the Raptors have no chance, right? You're walking into this game, and I want to say this respectfully to the Toronto Raptors. They have the three best players on the court. Okay. Between Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, those are the three best players on the court. You can argue the fourth best player is RJ Barrett, fifth best player is Immanuel Quickley. You can probably go down the list, sixth best player. Who is it? I don't know. Is it Sam Hauser? Possibly. Is it Anthony Simons? Possibly. It's one of those guys. But the Raptors definitely did not have the best player in this game, and they definitely did not have the second best player in this game. And the Celtics did. And two of their three best players, I would argue all three of their best players, came up huge. They were plus mega huge, right? Early in the game, Sam Hauser. I mean, I think the takeaway of this game is this is one of the highest volume three-point shooting teams in the league, and you hold them well below volume, but not below efficiency. So you sell out a little bit too much, maybe, but there wasn't really a pathway to success, if we're being honest, right? You don't have the personnel to beat this team. They have Nemias Keita. You don't have a center. They have Luka Garza. You don't have a center, right? You're starting Colin Murray Boyles. He's a little bit undersized in that situation. Some people may look at the box score and say, well, he didn't have a great game. I think he played fine. He played fine. They shifted him out of the way. They did everything in their power to, manipulate the defense in such a way that very often you would end up with Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett in the paint, right? They did their best to get Toronto's lone paint protector out of the way. And this is probably the issue when you don't have a Scottie Barnes is Scottie and CMB are such a dynamic duo precisely because they play so well off of each other defensively. But when you only have one, whether that be just Scottie or just CMB, it really hurts. Off the bench, I think the Raptors got a great performance from Jamal Shed. Brilliant, actually. I think he was the Raptors' best point guard tonight, regardless of, box score merchants saying it was Immanuel Quickley. I don't think so. I think IQ played kind of mid. The 13 assists, 17 points don't really move me. He had some really good plays. We can definitely take a look at it in our film session. I think Grady Dick started out really poorly and ended this game really well. He led all Raptors in a game that you lose by 8. He was plus 14 in his 24 minutes, which means half the game, which is what he played in 24 minutes, you were plus 14. And the guy that he often was subbing out for, which was Jacoby Walter, who had a season high 19 points. I don't think he was a problem tonight. But I do think the combination of Jacoby, IQ, RJ, Sandro, you're giving up too much defensively. You're giving up way too much defensively. And I'm not saying Grady solves it because Grady definitely doesn't solve it. But you needed something better defensively, or you needed to beat them crazy, offensively. And you just don't have the talent to go either way. You don't have the talent to compete offensively. You can't go band for band. The Raptors certainly tried. The Raptors took more threes tonight, at least at the half. They had taken more threes. Yeah, they definitely took more threes. They took 47 threes tonight, and they made 38%. On an average night, when you go 49% from the field, 38% from three, and 90% from the free throw line, you're going to win most of those games. So the offense was not the problem tonight. The defense was a major problem tonight because at the half, the Celtics were shooting 61% from the field and I think 50% from the free throw, from three. So it's like, okay, cool. We shot 50, 38, 90, but it's like they shot 55, 50, 90. You know what I mean? And it's like you kept it pretty close. Honestly, coming into this game, if you told me RJ Barrett was going to go out the way he went out, I'd tell you this is probably going to be a 20-point blowout. But hey, man, you compete hard, you play hard defensively, you get another masterclass from Peyton Pritchard, who was just everywhere. Jaylen Brown, I think, played pretty poorly tonight. I'll be honest, I think he played pretty shit tonight. He had some good passes, but the Raptors got him on a ton of turnovers. I think Elijah Martin had some really positive possessions on him. There was a play where Grady Dick stripped it out of his hands, but the referees, I think, called it a foul, and the Raptors didn't have a challenge on that play. So that is just tough. But it's too much pressure. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, it's just too much pressure going downhill, and you're getting constant 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 3-on-2 advantages going downhill, and you don't have anything back there. You don't have a paint protector back there because they've already manipulated your paint protector, and he's out in the corner guarding Jaylen Brown. So it's really tough. The Raptors didn't have the personnel to win tonight, but honestly, if you had even one competent big, if you had a Day'Ron Sharpe, you might have won tonight. This is not an unwinnable game. You shot really, really well. Like you had some incredible shooting performances tonight. Not from Elijah Martin, 1 for 5, not from Grady Dick, 1 for 4 from 3, but Jamal Shed, he made his threes. Immanuel Quickley, he made his threes. Jacoby Walter made his threes. RJ Barrett made his threes. And that's enough. 18 for 47 from 3. I think he did a really, really good job offensively, and there were some brilliant, brilliant plays, some big time dunks, one from Elijah Martin, a huge poster on Peyton Pritchard from CMB. So some exciting moments. If not, you don't get a victory on Friday night. I feel for you, but at least you get some young players playing. You get some exciting moments. You get seven steals. You get 6 blocks tonight. You win the turnover margin. At one point, the Raptors had 19 assists on 21 field goals. Like, that is truly insane. right? Darko's heart is singing right now. 39 assists on 45 field goal made. That's impressive. Impressive as hell. But of course, the Celtics do get to the line a little bit more. I think they had a bit of a favorable whistle. Jaylen Brown definitely had a favorable whistle tonight. And the Celtics pretty much lead wire to wire. Like you led for one possession of this game. Exactly one possession. The score was 47-46. You led, and then it was an immediate 7-0 run, and it was Anthony Simons, Anthony Simons, Anthony Simons. Just it was the Anthony Simons special. So again, it's just guards who can do things off the dribble. They have them, you don't. They have better versions of it than you do, right? Someone saying Bobby looked depressed. He looked fine to me. I'm sure he's not thrilled that RJ Barrett's going out, but yeah. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at the film breakdown, and we will take your calls if there are any callers. I somewhat doubt that there are callers. 1 second. Okay. I said people don't care about defense until you don't have defense, right? You see plays like this and you're just like, man, step up here. How do you lose Sam Hauser? I mean, this is the first quarter, right? CMB, you gotta have that court awareness. And the Celtics do a great job of just moving the basketball and hunting for the right play. Sorry, this one's not loading, but this was a Peyton Pritchard going downhill here. Immanuel Quickley gets clipped on the Nehemias Keita screen. And this is what I mean. They manipulate the defense to make sure that you don't have any paint protection here. And by putting CMB on Jaylen Brown, because that's really your only player who can even reasonably guard someone as physical as Jaylen Brown, the problem with that is you end up with RJ Barrett as your last line of defense here. And if CMB rotates, if he aggressively over rotates here, this is an easy, quick pass to Jaylen Brown for an open three. So they spread you out. They take their spacing very seriously, and that's going right back to when they won a championship. They're very good at it. They're very good at it. I said Hugo Gonzalez is better than Grady Dick. Weird to say, but undeniably true. I have been very high on Hugo Gonzalez. This should be a guaranteed 2 points. Guaranteed. But for whatever reason, Grady goes up a little bit soft here, and Hugo Gonzalez is a very tenacious, athletic defender. Okay? I said Raptors rookie Elijah Martin might just end up being good. I was blown away by his overall, both his stints tonight. I think he had 3 stints tonight. Every one of them yielded something positive, right? Every one of them. Here, attacking Jordan Walsh off the dribble, step here. This is good. This is very good. Here, instead of forcing the issue here, making a pass to the open teammate, Jamal Shed. Nice, clean, and it wasn't just one way. Here we go the second way, and here he is able to guard Peyton Pritchard, which is really not something that any Raptor was able to do tonight successfully, if we're being honest. There just weren't any Raptors who were able to do anything with Peyton Pritchard. But here he gets really, really low in his stance and is able to athletically explode to keep up with Peyton Pritchard. And here stops on a dime. And you can see that this is just pure athleticism, will, grit, and length to get back and contest the shot. And it's just like, it's a bad miss. And with the way Peyton Pritchard was going, he wasn't about to just miss that shot by himself. Like Elijah Martin forced that miss there. I said I have sold 0 Jonathan Mobo stock. Nice to see Jonathan Mobo get into the game. And nice to see that Jamal Shed can be like the only player on this team that can make this pass consistently, or the only player who's willing to make this pass consistently. And this is the type of play that honestly, it drives you crazy when point guards don't make this pass. I said Grady is scaring me, man. Now, this is right before he turned it around, so this might be a little presumptuous, but really great play. Maybe a little bit of a soft screen here, but does the job. You get a wide open look for Grady Dick here. This should be automatic. Airballing this is tough. Very tough. I said CM Beast. That's a good nickname. CM Beast. Now, it's not exactly Vince Carter jumping over Frederick Weiss, but here, Jacoby Walter with a nice pass to CMB, and he just yams it over Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard woke up after that a little bit, but shout outs to Peyton Pritchard for being on the receiving end of a CMB dunk. Okay. All right, let's just take a look. I mean, you got to see a lot of guys that you typically don't see. AJ Lawson came in, provided a little bit of a nothing burger for the Raptors, but a lot of energy. So good to see. But here, look, this is the defense that I'm talking about here. RJ Barrett. Once again, this is the place where the Celtics love that RJ is the last line of defense here. And how much can CMB really help here? How much? Because if he overcommits, Sam Hauser's open for three, right? So here, tough. You know, salute to RJ Barrett. I know it always looks like a guy doesn't do his job when someone scores on you. These are NBA players. They're supposed to score on you, okay? But these are the limitations. When you talk about athleticism, length, size, these are the limitations. Is that consistently teams are going to score better on undersized players at the rim. And RJ Barrett is very helpless under the rim. Here, a player who is not helpless under the rim and a player who would offer the Raptors everything they need right now is Derek White. Coming over like a freaking center to block this shot by Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley, surprised. Always surprised. You can guarantee one thing. You can guarantee three things in life. Death, taxes, Immanuel Quickley getting blocked at the rim is every single game. And on the other end, this doesn't help. Here, Immanuel Quickley, you must step up on this screen. This is obviously going to be an Anthony Simons 3. Immanuel Quickley having dial-up internet for a brain means that this is automatic. Now, what can Sandro do? There are two shooters. So it's a shooter setting a screen for a shooter, something the Raptors should really explore doing with Immanuel Quickley sometimes. But here, this is a good screen, solid release. And here, Mamu is pointing almost like, what can I do? Because if he overcommits, Simons just passes this to Sam Hauser. They put so much pressure on your defense here. And for Immanuel Quickley, you have to get up. I said the Raptors are Toronto is trying to beat Boston at their own game. And I mean, I wanted to say it's not going to work, but you get the point. Here, Neemias Queta makes the same mistake. It's a little too low, focusing on Sandro Mamukelashvili. And here, the Celtics, they say, anything you can do, we can do better. So 3 points added, 3 points lost. Jacoby Walter gets clipped there. Here are the halftime stats. The Celtics shot 61% from the field, as I mentioned, 56% from three. Unbelievable. But again, the Raptors had 19 assists on 22 field goals. They just don't have that guy who can generate shots for himself, right? Now, this is a great move by RJ Barrett, but also, can I please say, I don't think Jaylen Brown is anywhere near as good as people make him out to be. This is RJ Barrett making, but then this is also the problem. He has to go back to the left hand, right? And it's just like, look, as somebody who was very, very, very right hand dominant, who would also very often try to get back to my right hand going up left, this is not something that you can do at the professional level without getting absolutely destroyed at the rim. And here, I mean, you're able to get away with this, but man, you're lucky. 8 times out of 10, Derek White's blocking that. 8 times. So, a couple clips from Esfandiar Barhani. He says has generally been much better this season, but RJ needs to be better than this. Look, absolutely. Look at this defense here. Okay. Now, you're too wide. First of all, to any young kids watching out there or people who are interested in getting better basketball wise, you're too wide. Your stance is too wide. You will never be able to recover if you're this wide. Number two, you have absolutely no chance of stopping this. Look at the defensive technique. You're not making any contact. You're not cutting off the lane. You're giving a wide open lane here, and you offer no resistance as a weak side or a reverse shot blocker. You put so much pressure on Jonathan Mobo, CMB, Jacoby Walter, everybody else to basically clean up your mess here. I don't think RJ Barrett's a good defender at all. I really don't. And I think it's going to get schemed out in the playoffs. Mm. Speaking of the New York Bros, this is not good, man. Let me mute this. Immanuel Quickley running possessions here. This is the Raptors right after they were, they had that lead 47-46. Anthony Simons comes back, hits a three. Here, Immanuel Quickley. Now, IQ does not see CMB rolling. Cannot make this pass to CMB. Has to pass this to RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett has to pass it to Jacoby Walter. And at that point, I don't even care. I don't even care. If Jacoby hits that, that's not a good play. If Jacoby misses it, it's not a bad play. The point is, you miss a wide open guy at the rim. They make a mistake. You have a point guard who can't capitalize. Now, speaking of why RJ Barrett goes to that left hand, well, let's see. Here's what happens when he goes to his right hand. See, now here, he can't go back to his left. So here he tries to go to his right, thinking Derek White might block it, and he ends up getting blocked by the rim. That's tough. Now, this is just great defense. And we have seen so many clips of Jonathan Mobo, Jamal Shed locking up. If I showed you an example of really bad defense there earlier with RJ Barrett, here's an example of great defense. What's the difference? The difference is, number one, look at the hips. Do you see Jonathan Mobo with his legs completely spread out, immobile? No, he's agile and moldable here. Look at his defensive technique. Because right here, from this position, if Jaylen Brown goes aggressively left, you can meet him there. But you are square to your defender here, or you're square to the offensive player here, and you are actually cutting something off. And look at Elijah Martin sitting there helping if Jaylen Brown tries to go right. And that's exactly where Jonathan Mobo, cutting that off, is going to send Jaylen Brown into Elijah Martin, which is going to force the turnover. This is just two of your young players who really understand defense, right? Like, to put it very simply, these are two of your better defenders. And very impressive to see their compete level tonight in a game where you really didn't have much of a chance. Speaking of Elijah Martin and doing things, this is not Elijah Martin on offense. Sorry, on defense. This is Elijah Martin on offense. And this is what gets you excited. Here, Derek White, right? Now, again, Elijah Martin is a different class of athlete than Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, especially as it pertains to explosive athleticism. Elijah Martin is a freak athlete. Now, get away with a little bit of a push-off here. But there's no chance that Derek White's blocking this, because Elijah Martin, you go up. I remember somebody at one point trying to describe Vince Carter, and they said, he goes up, you go up. He goes up, you go up. You start coming down, he's still going up. It's exactly how I would describe Elijah Martin. Not quite Vince Carter, but man, 6'2", 6'1". There ain't a lot of guys 6'1" in the league that have that type of athleticism. Damn. I said good pass by Elijah Martin. Sorry, good pass by Immanuel Quickley. Here, Elijah Martin, broken play, falls down, intelligently relocates to the three-point line, hits his only three of the game. Now, certain things, certain issues with his shot form, he is obviously shooting it very, very well at the G League level. Still looks a little hesitant. The ball still comes off a little bit hard. There isn't exactly like that soft roll off of his hand. So the shooting form makes me think he's probably never going to be like a great shooter, but he could be competent. Like we're talking Lou Dort, maybe competent. I love this play. This is my play of the game, 100%. Number one, it's the speed of the process, right? So this is, in a nutshell, Darko ball. This is what Darko wants. A big in the middle of the floor. Here, you bait Anthony Simons, who is, again, one of the worst defenders in human history, who has ever played basketball anywhere, period. Anthony Simons could go to the CBA in China and still be one of the worst defenders in China. Like, he is awful. His instincts, he has no instincts defensively. IMG really, really fucked that guy over, or maybe he just doesn't care about defense, period. Here, Mamu flips this to Grady. Look at how quickly Grady is going to get this back to Immanuel Quickley, which is the right play. And look at how quickly, sorry, pardon the pun, Immanuel Quickley is going to get this to Sandro Mamukelashvili. Now, did he project this a little bit more than I would have liked? Yes. Did he hold on to it like maybe half a beat longer? Yes. But this is about faster than I expect Immanuel Quickley typically to make plays. And this is around when I gave up on this game because, quite frankly, I mean, I continued to watch, obviously. I continued to watch, but this is around when I stopped clipping plays. But there were a lot of really good moments. You'll notice that there were no Jacoby Walter makes in the highlights. He had 19 points, so obviously there's plenty. But these were plays that stuck out to me. In terms of where do the Raptors go from here? Well, hopefully they get healthy because health will be paramount. They face the Philadelphia 76ers home Sunday, Monday. Joel Embiid is back. He is playing really well. I mean, relatively speaking, he's playing really well. Paul George is actually playing pretty well, at least defensively. He's playing really, really well. And Tyrese Maxey is playing like an all-league guard. So you are going to have your work cut out for you. The Raptors definitely lost to the last time when they faced Joel Embiid, and the Sixers, they lost without a center. So hopefully Jakob Poeltl is back and feeling better. Hopefully Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram are back and they feel better. But man, the tough loss of RJ Barrett, that is really going to be hard to sustain. Today on the panel, Jordan was talking about, projects and, guys like Noah Senge and Ben Seraph. And I started thinking, he was basically saying like European and international players get so much leeway to develop in the NBA. Teams aren't as patient with North American guys. I don't want to misquote him. He is a friend, but I generally started thinking about the Raptors and I was just like, man, we are attempting to develop Ochai, Elijah, Chucky, Jonathan Mobo. Like, what do we like? You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of dudes. Grady, there's a lot. CMB, like, there's a lot of very incomplete basketball players, right? If two or three of these guys actually pan out, given their athleticism, court mapping, tenacity, team first mentality, yeah, maybe you end up being something special. But man, when you see Scottie and BI out, there ain't a lot that you can go to on the bench, man. There ain't a lot you can go to on that bench. So shout outs to the Raptors bench, this ragtag group of second round picks, two-way guys, NBA hopefuls who came in and just gave you a very professional effort. At the end of the day, that's what you want. This is a professional basketball team on the road. These are young players playing some of their first NBA minutes, and they gave you really competitive basketball. Like you could tell they were eager to compete. Elijah Martin may have shot 1 for 5 or 1 for 4 from 3, but he looked really eager to compete, and I think he did a great job on Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown's getting MVP love right now for some reason. I don't understand it personally. I'm listening to Boston fans. He's at the free throw line. They're like, MVP, MVP. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Raptor fans screaming MVP at Chris Bosh. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's weird. Jaylen Brown's not an MVP. He's not a top 5 player in the league. He's not a top 6 player in the league. He's not a top 10 player in the league. What are we doing MVP? What's next? I'd just as soon give the MVP to Scottie Barnes or Cade Cunningham than Jaylen Brown. I don't get it personally. He's having a good season. 29 points. When you score 29 points per game and you have a reputation as a defender and your team is winning, like a lot of things go right. But honestly, Jaylen Brown probably could have sat out tonight. They still would have won, if I'm being honest. Right? Cool. Jaylen Brown willing the team to win is one of their best players. He is one of their best players. He's not an MVP. I could listen to All NBA third team. I could listen to it, and it's largely because I think a lot of guys are going to miss the eligibility cutoff. Oof. Top 10 two-way player, Jaylen Brown. Well, speaking of top 10 two-way players, hang on. I got something for you. So, Player's Choice just released yesterday. Is it yesterday or today? Their top two-way players. And I want to share this list with y'all so you can see the top two-way players according to Player's Choice. It's a surprising list. Wait, where the hell is it? Here we go. So here are the top two-way players according to Player's Choice. Number 10 is your boy OG Anunoby. Number 9, Chet Holmgren. Number 8, possibly two-time MVP, soon to be two-time MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 7, Kevin Durant, one of my favorite players of all time. Number 6, Raptors legend, Kawhi Leonard. Number 5, Anthony Edwards. Number 4, it's your boy, Scottie Barnes. Number 3, Jaylen Brown. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 1, Victor Wembanyama. My list was actually Scottie at 3, Shai at 2, Wemby at 1. So I don't know. Like it's cool, Seems like Scottie is finally getting his respect, and on a night like tonight, you really feel it. Wow, did not expect to see Scottie on the list. Dude, top two-way players. Two-way. Scottie is two-way. That's what he is. Okay, we got some super chats here. Hang on. Bill Withers, Huz, HU3ZZ said, games like this prove Scottie's MVP impact. There's only one person in the world that I think is consistently higher on Scottie Barnes than me, and that's Bill Withers. So shout outs to Bill. That's awesome. I don't know if Scottie has MVP impact. Offensively, he certainly doesn't, but defensively, he's been borderline DPOY level. If I'm being honest, like he's been borderline DPOY level. He's so impressive defensively. His defensive activity, the analytics back it up. The eye test backs it up. His versatility backs it up. And you know what? Like we all have been talking about his defense for years in terms of like how underrated he is. So I'm genuinely happy that, people are finally starting to wake up to it. It's great. But I don't think he's an MVP, dude. Yet. We will see. Closing into 14K subs. Congrats, brother. And if y'all haven't subbed up yet, please do. Thank you so much, ESPNNeedsIKD. As always, thank you for being a member, a VIP member, a big time contributor to this channel. And thank you so much for helping me. And also, yes, if you have not subscribed, we are very close to 14,000 subscribers. We're like, I want to say like 90 away. So if you're one of those people who watches these videos and hasn't subbed up, please do. Hey, Mr. Rob, how are you? Scottie two-way GOAT? No. As in, like, is he the greatest of all time two-way player? No, not even close. He wouldn't make my top 10 all time. Tyler One Later 2 said, bro, for him to get MVP, Scottie has to score more. He has to be in general like way more impactful offensively. Way more impactful. Way more impactful. Yeah. You can't be an 85th to 88th percentile offensive player and win MVP unless you are like the greatest defender of all time. Wemby could do it. He's the only one, though. So I'm hoping Scottie gets some first team all defense love. I'm hoping he gets some second team all NBA love. And I'm locking him in for All-Star. I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast. He said among his 8 locks in the Eastern Conference, Scottie's one of them. I think that's a lot of love. For being honest, there's a lot of good players in the Eastern Conference this year. And for Scottie to be one of the 8 locks is pretty impressive, for sure. Scottie got to score more, average 25, not 19. I don't think it matters if you score 19 or 25. I think you just have to be more assertive offensively. You can do it through assists, you can do it through efficiency, you can do it through getting through the line. You can do it. Just you can't be 22% usage in this situation. You think Scottie will develop a consistent mid-range 3? I mean, go check his 3-point percentages right now. It's pretty consistent. Yeah. Would you take Brown for the Raptors? No, because he makes $60 million a year. I think a lot of people maybe are underestimating just how much the CBA is going to come into the equation when it comes to the next few deals. Trae Young, guys like this, you're seeing $49 million of impact. I think right now, if we're seeing what the value is going to be for Anthony Davis now that he's injured, like this is going to be tough. And Anthony Davis wants $60+ million in his next contract. Like it's really tough. 34.7%. Okay. I don't know if you failed math or if I failed math, but 34.7 is 35%. We don't round down when it's 0.7. We round up. Okay. AD is getting 30. 30 million? No, man. He is getting much more than 30 million. He will get at least 45 to 50 if a team doesn't max him outright. Trae Young getting that IQ money max. I think he demanded his way to Washington specifically because they already have a deal with him. I think what the Raptors did with Brandon Ingram last year has set a nice little precedent for what teams can do in the pre-free agency negotiation period, because the Wizards were not going to be able to sign him outright without the bird rights. So I think they'll work out a deal. Probably they'll work out a deal where maybe they'll have him opt out of his player contract and then give him a long-term deal to build on the current deal that he has right now. Or he opts into his player contract and they just tack on like 2-3 years to it. I would assume. Toronto getting Ja or Sabonis? I would hope not. Honestly, man, I would really hope not. I'm not in it at all. Possible to get Trey Murphy. Trey has been a really bad defender the last couple of years. Not really sure if he moves the needle very much, but he would certainly help from a spacing perspective. I mean, it would certainly help to have a guy who can hit threes. That would not hurt. Yeah. Anyways, this is going to be one of the shorter lives. I actually woke up at 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. I'm typically waking up around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but waking up at 6:30 has been insane. I've been trying to get into a new routine. I got to figure out a way to do these later lives. And I know that lives are going to get later when we go to the West Coast. So I'm just like, man, I've been trying to live as this night owl because I do these super late lives. But lately, I've been trying to get to sleep on time. And like right after this, instead of doing the typical thing where I drink coffee, wake myself up, get totally disgustingly drained, and then fall asleep sometime around 3 a.m. and then wake up super tired. I don't know. Like I'm just trying to get to sleep at the right time. Like, you know what I mean? 6:30 a.m. is gross. It was actually beautiful. This is one of the best days of my life, man. I gotta tell you, this was one of the best days of my life. Y'all need to look into fascia. Have y'all been turned on to fascia in terms of like this 20 pounds of fascia that's in your body connecting your head to your toe? How do you drink coffee now? Well, you make coffee and then you drink it. You want me to tell you how I make coffee? Or how do you drink coffee now? Well, this is not coffee. This is tea. But yeah. Pels want to keep the core of Jones, Murphy, and Zion together. I don't think that is true. I think they would move Zion for the right price. I think they're looking to build around Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, to be honest. Oak Tree saying 5 a.m. is the best to get up and hit the gym. Well, I did not hit the gym. I ended up cleaning and I have been decluttering. Today, I finally got rid of my piano and it has been sitting pretty much unplayed for like 4 years. It's been badly in need of a tuning. I got it like 13 years ago and I just always wanted a piano. And it was an upright standard piano, not a grand piano, not a keyboard, but like just a standard upright piano. And it just felt so weirdly nostalgic and normal to have it in the house. And then I just realized this is not actually being played. And so I took it downstairs. I was going to initially sell it, but I was like, fuck it. It needs to be tuned. I'm not selling this. I took it downstairs. My superintendent looked at it. He's like, oh my God, I've always wanted a piano. And I was like, please take it. I was so happy, And then the minute I came home, I saw the living room without that piano. I was like, I feel so good. Like, it felt so good to just get that out of the way. Honestly, man, if I could have it my way, and I know that like my girlfriend would never agree to this, I would live with that. I would live in a house with like 12 items, like 12 or 13 items. I would live with like my PS5, a television, a couch, a bed, and like a table, and like two plates, two glasses, and a couple of forks. Like, okay, well, obviously I need my computer, so we're already, we're fucked. But yes, Scandinavian. You know what it is? It's the Scandinavian interior design is actually very, very good for your mental health. Very, very good for your mental health. I can't even say enough about it. So the Scandi design is interior design is light colors, a lot of light colors, reflect light, warm interiors, minimalist design. Super good for your mental health. Also, and I'm a little bit dancing around these topics. I have had so much inflammation in my face. I didn't even recognize myself. Uh, the other day, I actually had to log into an app, right? This is a good point. I would need a singular pot and a spatula. I tried to log into an account and it required me to do a facial ID. And I clicked my camera on and it said fraud. So I was like, oh my God, like, do I look so different? And apparently I do. And I thought to myself, I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? And I've been noticing that my face shape has changed significantly, either due to poor tongue posture, cat allergies, inflammation. This morning, I started doing a facial fascia massage. Look into it, man. I'm telling you, this shit is a game changer. I've only done it for 2 days. And I can honestly tell you that the immediate relief that you start to feel on your face, like you got to understand, like fascia, 20 pounds of fascia is in your body from your head to your toe, tying together your entire movement and everything. So your face has like pockets of like, you know, like trapped I don't know how to explain it. I'm not very smart about this. You're eating too many sweets. It's not that. No, it's not that. I mean, that certainly does not help, right? If you sleep on your face, it doesn't help. But I've just been noticing that there are people around me that are aging horribly bad, and then there are people around me that are aging really well, right? There are people around me that still look like they're in their 20s, even though they're pushing 38. And then there are people around me who are 35 and they look like they're in their mid 40s. And I'm just like, there's got to be a difference. It's not just all genetics. Part of it is definitely genetics, but it's not all genetics, right? It's definitely a lot of lifestyle. I think this fascia thing works really well because again, like when you're doing the fascia stuff, it's called a fascia facelift. So basically, you're relieving all of the knots and tension and inflammation in your face. So, you know what I mean? Like you're pushing up on your face, your your tongue posture is everything too. Gotta, yeah, sugar and oil. That's part of it, man. Diet is part of it. Visceral fat, getting what I don't know what they call it. There's a word for like colorful foods in your diet. So like cabbage, carrots, et cetera, et cetera. Rob, have you tried to change up the diet like Djokovic when he realized he was allergic to certain foods? Yes, I have. Yes. I tried cutting out, not tried cutting out. I did cut out sugar for like a good 5 months. Today I've been snacking on M&Ms half the day. So no, I did not cut out sugar today. Anyways, the Toronto Raptors play again on Sunday. I almost did a live about Anthony Davis yesterday, but I was like, you know what? We're not going to make this trade. He wants too much money. He's too expensive. We don't have the right contracts. Everybody wants to throw the Raptors into an Anthony Davis thing. It just doesn't work for me. We don't have the right players. We don't have the right players. He doesn't fit our timeline. Yes, he is a massive upgrade over RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl and whatever else you'd have to give up, even if it was a first round pick. But he's so expensive, and I just don't think you necessarily have the right pieces for him. He needs like a really good perimeter creator to play off of. Like he needs Kyrie Irving. You don't have Kyrie Irving, so unless you're trading for Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, I just don't get it. The last time I can think of the Raptors making a move that big was Kawhi Leonard, man. So, yeah. Mark saying big believer in myofascia release. I have done it every 2 weeks. I'm going to look that up. Anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Yeah. Have a beautiful night. We try to do a live tomorrow. Once this video goes live, give me a topic. Give me a topic that you would like to discuss tomorrow. It could be Jacoby Walter. Jacoby is having a pretty decent season. All things considered, Jacoby and CMB are giving me a lot of hope for the future right now. Grady depends on the game. Jameson Battle depends on the game. Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, and CMB are giving me a lot of hope for the future right now. And maybe Elijah Martin, despite my early trepidations about him, will be hard a lot less too. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a beautiful, beautiful night. Don't let this loss get you too down. But obviously, the Raptors were pursuing the Boston Celtics. So a loss here kind of sucks. Anyways, peace.